Okay, so before I start this video, this channel is just about skips, scrap, waste, concrete, gravel, aggregates, anything to do with the waste industry, and all them things go together. So if you're into that, don't matter where you are, just click on subscribe and all my videos are to do with that. Today, this video, a man is going to get some serious prison time and I'm going to talk to you because it could happen to me or you. So it's worth watching. So what I'll tell you is, before I talk about this video, I'm not giving any particular opinion on who's in the right, who's in the wrong, or whatever happened, just so you know that. But what I can tell you is a man has lost his life after falling into a shredder. I'm going to show you different bits of footage of what happened because I've got the video of the man actually falling into the shredder. What happened is you had two men working on a shredder. One guy's loading it with a grab and then it's got a blockage, so the guy has asked his worker in the yard to jump into the shredder and clear the blockage. Unfortunately, they didn't turn the shredder off, so you can imagine what's going to be coming here. The man who went through the shredder was called David Willis. I'm not familiar with the people. This is just what I've taken from the internet, and I thought it'd be something that you would all be interested in. So the part of it that we would want to know about as people in the industry is the being charged with manslaughter. So the interesting part of this video is that when the man was shredded, they then sent him by what can only be, I can only think is sent him after he's been shredded. They kept working, sent him to the landfill or to the disposal site and didn't inform anybody from what I'm reading today. The skip company was called TWS in Wolverhampton, and the accident was in 2018, but the investigation with the Environment Agency and the police has been going on since then, so we're getting on for 5 years. I presume there was deciding whether it was manslaughter or just a corporate accident. The man who was operating the shredder was called Brian Timmins, and he was found guilty of manslaughter as well, along with the owner of the business. And the worst part of all this is the fact that the body of the man has never been found, so he's basically gone through the full shredding process and they've never actually found the body, and he's gone to a landfill in Cannock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the video of of what happened, and you can watch it and make your own mind up. I'll stick it on the side of the screen here for you to watch some clips of it. So actually going through what actually happened, the health and safety executive and the police have basically said that the risk assessments they didn't cover what they was doing. I don't think somebody signing a piece of paper would have necessarily, saved anybody. There needed to be some on-site training for these people. But what the worrying part of it is that anybody, the boss, for instance, may not be there on the day, or the manager, and you've got a couple lads in the yard and they're just basically messing about or doing something like this where they ain't got somebody to stand over them and keep an eye on them. And I think anybody would agree with me on this, is that if you climb into a shredder while it's turned on, it's a very, very dangerous thing to do. And if somebody asked me to do it, I would definitely say no. The problem is that when your boss is asking you to do it, some people will do things that they wouldn't usually do because somebody's paying them to do it, and that is the worrying part. So what the worst part of this is that by reading this, they didn't inform the police straight away, and then the person's remains, the body was put with 80 tons of waste and then sent to the landfill site in Cannock in Staffordshire. As you can see on the video, the man was seen walking around the yard frustrated and obviously looking for some sort of answer from his boss on his phone or the owner of the company, and he didn't know what to do, so he's gone back, and he can be seen on the CCTV basically just keeps running the shredder, which is the part of this which takes it from a corporate accident to an actual criminal investigation. West Midlands Police, who did the investigation, have said that there's been loads of shortcomings all the way through from the company by not putting safe procedures of work in place. My thoughts on this is that I see people, not just at my work, all over the place doing crazy things on a daily basis. You're driving around, you see people climbing up this and doing that and all that. And, you know, sometimes common sense, people have different levels of common sense. And like I said to you, I'm not going to go into detail. If a man had fallen off a ladder and this video was about something like that, then we could dig into it a lot further. But this is, you know, a very delicate subject. So what I would say on the matter is that people do things that I wouldn't do myself. You know, you see them up ladders, right in the gutter and on the roof and everything else. You know, there's things you would and wouldn't do, and you know what is safe. And if somebody asks you to climb into a shredder, you would give it a second thought. But on the other side of that, if your boss is telling you to do it, and you know the potential's there to lose your job if you don't do it or whatever else, that's how accidents happen, because people throw the safety side out the window, and that is what happens. And I see it every day. I mean, we do, in our business, we do risk assessment after risk assessment after risk. We've had the HSE here going through everything, you know, and they checked everything. Everything's right. But what is on a piece of paper and what you train somebody to do doesn't mean it happens in the real world. For instance, you get somebody who's a fully trained machine driver and everything else or whatever, and an accident can happen. People fly planes, accidents happen from human error, and human error we can't change, no matter how many pieces of paper we do or anything else. So me personally, my way of doing this training with my people is for them to do it. And what I do is, when I'm doing training, I will show them what will happen. So I've been around the job for years, and I'll say to them, listen, if you don't do that, this will happen. If you do that, this will happen. And I show the examples. For instance, a machine reversed into a guy in a skipyard a few months ago and crushed him. And I got the video and I showed it to the lads in the yard and put it across to them. This is what will happen. This is the consequences. You know, and most accidents are just a slip of concentration for 2 seconds. But what makes this one so, well, terrible, is the only way you can put it, is that they've shredded him and then mixed him into the rest of the waste. They don't even bother to turn the plant off, turn the shredder off. You know, it's quite a serious matter, and I would have thought that, you know, there's going to be some serious jail time for the people involved. And you know, it's awful for the person who's lost his life, and it's also very awful, you know, the full situation. And the other thing is the family of the man who was on that digger that day. You know, he's asked him to climb in. He hadn't said to him, jump, put your head in. You know, he hadn't said put your head into the machine or anything like that. He's probably just done what he thought he should have done. You know, jump up there, give us a hand, and he's fell into the shredder. And he probably had no intentions of anything like this happening. So obviously, these other people are going to spend a lot of time in prison. They'll be away from the families and stuff like that. You might think they deserve it. You might think they don't. That's completely your opinion. And you know yourself, I've been in scrapyards and you see lads on the back of the van and they might only be 3 or 4 foot off the floor. They jump off and you see they twist their ankle. It's you know, it's a silly thing. It's only something small compared to what we're talking about today, but that is how easy an accident can happen. And this one is just massively, you know, devastating to everybody. The other thing to think about is that there'll be huge fines and compensation to go to the family. So I presume the family will be entitled to some sort of money, you know, probably in the millions. I don't know what people would get paid for people who get killed in industrial accidents. I've got no idea, but I would have thought it'd be, you know, could be 500,000, you know, 1 million, 2 million, because that guy who's lost his life, he might have had a family and different things, and they need providing for. I think the other part of this is, which is so concerning, is the fact that the man's gone through the shredder and then they've continued to shred a pile of waste and put it on top. I mean, the man was probably, who was operating the machine, was probably in a panic, and people do crazy things. Somebody has a car accident and they drive off even though they're a completely law-abiding citizen. But this guy has literally continued shredding, and by what I'm reading, they shredded for a full 24 hours after, before it was sort of like came to light. And I don't think reading this that there was any kind of investigation in terms of on the site. There would have been police there and everything else, but I think he's actually gone through the shredder and been removed off site before anybody's actually even realised it's happened. So I'm not sure if this man was trying to hide it or anything else, and that's why he's going to get a massive sentence. So I hope you like this video, and if you've got anything that you want me to talk about, give me a shout and I'll do a video about it. I'll see you next week. There'll be some more videos.